Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. Everybody's working for the weekend. Taking care of business every day. Now it's wow, welcome to the working week.
Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living.
Minimum wage.
Okay, well, welcome back to another episode of The Working Lunch. I'm Jeff Turgeon.
And I'm Sean McGauley.
We're the hosts for this new hour version of the show.
New bat time.
New
we're
day,
now
new
at-
time.
yeah.
You've got it. So this is the fourth show in our series.
Yep.
The first hour-long show, and it's the first being taped for broadcast as well on the City of Worcester's Channel 12, the Government Services channel. So
Yep.
we appreciate the folks at the City of Worcester's Cable Services Division for helping us.
Absolutely.
Jessica and Judy helping us tape today's proceedings and with some of the segments that you'll be seeing later on. So lots going on out there. Bob, how you been?
Of course, this is the first for WCUW.
Wow, so we're
Oh.
really we're trailblazers.
Breaking ground, that's
Breaking new
right.
ground out there. So Bob Zukowski, and I, as well as Sean, work with the Central Mass Workforce Investment Board. So we're the organization that oversees the public workforce system in Central Mass. So that's Worcester and 37 surrounding communities in southern Worcester County. One of the things that key things that we do is to connect the key stakeholders, bring them to one table, if you will, to discuss workforce needs, and that it's a system driven by and our board led by employers, as well as other key stakeholders, including representatives from the education and training community. We have President Carberry on our board from Quinsigamond Community College. We have other educators, training providers. Then we also have representatives from key state agencies, such as Veteran Services, economic development officials, that help to ensure that we're all working together to help create a stronger economy for our local workforce. So
That's the mission. That's the plan, right?
that's the plan. You got it. So we have, as I mentioned, Bob Zukowski, our producer, who also works at the Workforce Investment Board with us. Bob, how have you been?
We've been fine.
And I know that one of the things that you do is to track some local labor market statistics, so that that you can help us share with that. I see you've given me a copy of our latest. Sean, you want to venture a guess as of December? This is the latest figures released yesterday, as a matter of fact. The local employment rate in Massachusetts.
I'm gonna go for so unemployment rate. So maybe around 6 or 7, somewhere in that range. Is that accurate, or is that
6.7?
Oh, that's what I meant to say.
And that's down from last year with 6.9.
Which is
so
the good
slightly
news,
down.
right?
Yeah, it seems like it's been slightly ticking up a bit from the past couple months. So kind of a
Yeah, a tenth of a point.
pretty much
Tenth of a
staying
point.
flat.
Sure.
Obviously, that's a bit higher than we'd like to see. One thing that it's kind of easy when you start talking statistics and numbers. It's kind of easy to lose track of that those represent real lives. They
Right.
represent people, and
Right.
people with I get calls over at the board that for people that are going through some tough times, they're looking
Absolutely.
at possibly losing a home, or having to make some tough decisions about
Yeah.
feeding their family. So I mean, these statistics kind of indicate real life problems for 6.7% of our workforce that's out there. That's another thing to remember too. It's not 6.7% of our population in general, but our workforce.
While the state is 6.7, here in Worcester it's 7.2.
So again,
So we're
yeah.
struggling a little bit in Worcester, while central Massachusetts is 7.0.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that points to, as well, is if you look at the urban centers in Massachusetts, they struggle a bit more. They also have some more vulnerable populations that exist. Immigrant refugees that come here, people with language barriers and other barriers. One of the projects, as a matter of fact, that the board has addressed or is looking at as part of its strategic goals for the coming years to look at some of the reasons for the lag that exists for us, especially with key demographic populations within our region.
And
What are the barriers beyond language, which would be an obvious one?
Right, because a lot of people come in very highly skilled, in their own country. They're a doctor or a lawyer or some of these higher skilled positions. And one of the things I know Jeff and his team have been working on is looking at how to get them re-credentialed or back to work at a higher paying job or like a better position for them, that they can utilize some of those skills that they already have.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty large issue when you look at it. You've got on the surface, those folks, they're hardworking people, so they get out there and they eventually find work one way or another, right? So they might take a job that's, they come with a professional background, like you mentioned, and maybe it was a doctor from Iraq who's here, and he takes a job at a convenience store.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, that's a waste of his potential, but it's also taking a spot for someone who maybe is a bit further down on the skills chain, if you will, that would be a better fit for them.
Right. Even
at least starting off, right? So,
even your traditional youth jobs, your first job might be traditionally working at a grocery store or McDonald's or something, and those are being taken by other people who have a work
So you see this bumping effect in the labor market, not just with immigrant refugees, although that's one component to it, right? So the more we can do to help them find a better fit. On the flip side, we do have a continuing need in a lot of professions, a lot of industries for skilled professionals. So, so one of the issues we're looking at, at the board in partnership with some great folks over at Worcester State University and other institutions is looking at this re-credentialing issue.
Yes.
There's a group called the Massachusetts Immigrant Refugee Coalition.
Is that the mayor's group, or is that?
The mayor of Worcester has a task force as well, so it's a little bit separate.
okay.
But one of their key issues that they're looking at as well is this idea of re-credentialing. So,
Right.
so that's a bit of what's behind some of this higher unemployment rate in Worcester versus the state, and the state is a bit lower than the national average, which is a good thing, obviously. But Bob, any other?
Yeah, interesting on page 2, when we talk about monthly job estimates for December. You would think that the retail would have been up, and it's down. The number of positions is down from December of the previous year, which is surprising, especially for December, which is
Well, we thought they had a pretty good year retail-wise
Sure.
compared to last year, so I'm a little surprised that it would be.
Yeah, I did hear that people on the news. I heard that people were spending a lot for holidays, but I think something that might explain this is a lot of people are doing their shopping online. I think a lot more people are moving to an online format instead of the traditional brick and mortar where you go to the store kind of thing, because it's open 24
you're
hours.
veering into a talk about robots right now.
Isn't there a joke
you know,
about it?
but Sean really helped Santa, and he shopped locally.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, there is a great group, Worcester Local First, I believe. Steve D'Agostino
Yes, yep.
and folks have been with a lot of local retailers trying and local employers trying to get people to think and act locally in an economic sense, which makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So instead of necessarily going online and ordering something. Plus, there's no guarantee there of success online. Sometimes you get a
Yeah.
better deal.
Picture might, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, but sometimes you get something like maybe a pair of shoes or something, and it's the wrong color. I know, Jeff, you were.
Yeah, you're looking at me guilty as charged. So for Christmas, I'd received a pair of sneakers from one of those online, I believe it's like Zappo or something.
Zappos, yeah.
And
Wrong color, right?
wrong color. The color of the picture online didn't match what was in the box.
Said gray, but it was really like
A silver.
yeah,
Well, actually, the story
Chrome.
behind it. Now that we have an hour, I can properly.
We can elaborate on some of these things.
on some of these stores.
Well,
I actually, it was the first pair was like a hideous bright blue, and for some people that would be, hey, that's what they like.
Right, absolutely.
It wasn't a good fit for my feet, so I decided, and and so I
You
returned
gave them to your
those.
son.
Went out. No, I returned those and found a pair online with a picture that I thought looked good.
Yeah.
It was like a grayish color. It turns out it's like a bright metallic silver, like aluminum foil
Yeah.
silver.
So you got to go to the store. That's the
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Buy
I'm sure.
local.
I'm sure. You know, Sean, for you, that would
I
be
love
a great.
hideous blue. That's
No, I was
really
thinking
my
of
color.
the silver, the shiny silver, but it just wasn't. Just wasn't.
Yeah, and now that we have an hour,
So shop local.
we have
I
other
guess. I guess the
These
the
guys-
upshot
Right,
is shop
support your
local,
local
right?
yeah,
economy.
these
Support
guys
your
will
local.
talk about shopping. But we also have some guests on today, don't we?
That's true. We're going to
We
be
do.
talking. We have an extended interview with Robert Thomas from the Martin Luther King Jr. Business Empowerment Center,
Yeah.
which is a division of the of SMOC, and great interview, a great discussion there that we'll be playing for folks in a little while here. So yeah, some good things going on. We also teamed up with the good people at Rainbow Child Development Center.
Yep.
To
They're
talk
on
to some-
Edward Street in Worcester.
to get some career advice from some of their young students. So some good stuff there.
Yeah.
Some good stuff there. So, Bob, anything else on the employment news front that you think we might want to go over here?
I don't think so at this time, because I would like to move into one of our guests.
All right.
You know,
Okay.
It's about that time.
Are we ready then to roll the tape? So we're going to cut now to an interview that we had, and this was had last. We had this interview last Friday, so it is on tape, special tape delay. Hey, we're here with Rob Thomas from Martin Luther King Jr. Business Empowerment Center. How you doing today?
Just fine, sir. Just fine. Looking for the Dr. King weekend and celebration on Monday. It's a great weekend for me.
Excellent, excellent. So tell us a little bit about the center and what you all do here.
Okay. They always tell you that you want to keep your elevator pitch kind of short, but it's hard to keep 19 years into an elevator speech. But really, really simple. We were founded in 1994 as a business incubator. We started at the Emmanuel Baptist Church at 717 Main Street here in the city. And for 4 years, we worked out of that office. Then we were able to talk and work with the city and the state on us occupying a building. And through some block grant fundings, we got a couple of $100,000. We were able to identify this building, purchase this building, and in 1998 we moved here and had our first tenant, which is still our tenant, which is UMass Extension, where they have a 4-H program. They actually have a where the people go out and talk about health and nourishment, nutrition, and they have a legal division that deals with occupying and preserving land within the organization.
It's a beautiful facility. It's beautiful. I love the old brick buildings and
Yes.
and the beams and everything. So it's a wonderful facility that you were able to acquire there. So tell us about some of the other services offered here.
Basically, what MLK does is help people provide for themselves a better quality of life. Now, with all the social service organizations and all the agencies or nonprofits that you see around the county, there's a lot of ways to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have 3, and today I can introduce a 4th one. I found out at a meeting over at the parent company, South Middlesex Opportunity Council, that we just got the certifications on something, which I'll tell you later. But in helping people provide a better quality of life for themselves, we chose to do business development, where we provide, and we're here in our library, but technical assistance to people who are trying to start up their businesses, help them put together a business plan, formulate that business plan in the language that bankers want to see it in, and take that business plan and try to secure a loan for that person to start their business.
So really, from the ground up, helping build our economy. Obviously, from a jobs perspective, having new businesses develop means more jobs here, and most of the businesses in our community are small businesses. So they start someplace, right? So
Absolutely.
So you're here on the ground level, help people turn their dream, their idea into fruition.
Turn it into American.
And I didn't even mean to
Martin King,
create it
yes,
with Martin.
you did.
I have a dream, but I guess that fits, right?
That does. And so what happens is, if a person has that dream, we in fact work with them to execute it.
Yeah.
And make it a reality. And so now you take that a step further. Now that they have their dream, they have the money to now implement their dream. We, if they fit, have 42,000 square feet, and they could actually incubate here.
Yep.
And in this building, you'll see, if you take the tour, that we have a printer, believe it or not, Schmidt Printing. This is an interesting one that we have. We have a Vietnamese church that actually works out of here because they can't afford their own building, but with the rent, a person can actually get
a facility
uses
up in
of our conference rooms that are provided. And then we have a nonprofit organization, and we have a coffee distributor, Caravan Coffee, that was on
Now,
Main Street.
if someone's a part of the incubator process, they turn their idea. That first step is to get the idea of a bit of funding, the startup funding, get the business plan in place, and then what a great opportunity to have some physical space to kind of call home. Does that come with some support, like a phone, like you can hook up to your phone?
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay,
someone calls in and all that
let me
kind of back
explain that.
office.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So what happens is, it's the economy of scales, and why we created the incubator is that the resources, that when you're starting a small business, a lot of things eat up your money. Well, here, if you come here and you become a tenant, you in fact get to shop in what we call the MLK furniture store. So every business that you see here, their desk and everything came from furniture that was donated to us between and from the banks when there was a lot of mergers and acquisitions going on in town.
So again, a great opportunity,
Great opportunity.
To save some money and put it into the actual
The
business
business
versus
itself.
the side stuff that,
Right.
like you said, eats up a lot of that startup capital.
And so as it relates to the fax machine, we have a black and white fax machine and color copier and black and white copier. We have the fax machine, so all those resources are there.
Back office stuff.
They
Who
don't
wants to
have
go out and
they
have
don't
to
have
buy
to
it?
pay for that. Our receptionist, when you come to the front door, just like you asked for me, she called, and I came down. She would do the same thing with the business clients.
Now you're
here.
you're part of a network too of support groups for business. The Worcester Business
Resource
Alliance.
I was gonna mess with you, leave you hanging out there. What are the rest of those
I knew the
initials?
acronym.
No.
I knew the initial. I couldn't figure out the words there. I get them mixed up a bit. But so tell us a bit about that and how you're involved with that.
Well, what happens is we came together probably 5 years ago when the initial idea came around that, we didn't want to compete. We didn't want to confuse people. We wanted to come together to let everybody know and to try to figure out if there was a continuum of helping people do business. Some people come in, they have an existing business, they want to see what they can do to grow their business. Some people come in, their startup, just have an idea, don't have a clue about what business is about, have people at that end of the spectrum. So what happens is, of the current, I was just counting them today, 10 members, different people specialize in different things. Center for Women in Enterprise deal with, and when they originally started, their mission was to help women in business, okay? SCORE, Senior Corps of Retired Executives, they basically had the expertise of a retired restaurant owner.
Sure.
And so if people needed to learn about restaurants, they would come on the day that that particular retired executive was there.
Now I know a couple months ago we had on our radio show Amy Mosier from from Workforce Central from the Career Center, and I believe she and the Career Center are also
A part of
the alliance as well.
In our most recent revamped version of the Worcester Business Resource Alliance.
Now, your services here are offered to anyone that comes through. You don't have to be. I know with the name sometimes
that's a great
people,
question,
Yeah.
and it's one of the things that I say shame on the community or society for not understanding that Dr. King stood for the civil rights of all people.
Correct.
And that many of the civil rights changes that have taken place for women, for people with different sexual preferences came out of using the techniques
And the language and much of the
and everything that Dr. King used back in the day, which he got from other philosophers like Mahatma Gandhi. But that whole peaceful revolution and getting equality is for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, just wanted to make it specific. Anybody who walks through the door that has an issue that they want to deal with business development and some of the other things we provide, as I'll finish explaining this long answer to you, they in fact get help when they come to the
I just think
door.
that's important because I do think that unfortunately, I think that might be a kind of common misconception is that you have to be a person of color to take advantage of the great opportunity that's here. So and I know of course that that's not true. So I want to make sure we get that out, that word out there to folks.
Definitely, very, very important. Because I've actually had people say, I've driven by here and I didn't know what you did. They just assumed it was a minority community center or something.
Yeah.
And so when they come in, not only are they surprised about the size, but to know that we're here and to understand what it is that we do.
And
But Dr. King would turn over in his grave
Yeah.
if he found out that I now was turning away
Folks,
people
yeah.
that didn't look like me. No, you can't come in here, or go to the back door, drink out of a different fountain.
Now we're lucky enough to have you on our Workforce Investment Board,
Yes, sir.
and I know that Workforce Central, as I mentioned, Amy and folks over there. One thing that you had brought forward to us is the importance of helping new business development, and so even though people might be coming to the Career Center that are more traditionally kind of looking to work for someone else, there are a lot of folks that come with that idea, with that dream, and if they just had a bit of support. So it's great to see that linkage between the Career Center in your organization and the others through the WBRA. I also wanted to kind of get into.
Can I finish
Sure.
answering a question
Sure.
that was asked? So we talked about business development, and what happens is we talked about incubation, but we also provide a service for career training. So what happens is when a person, or if a person doesn't decide that they want to be an entrepreneur, they in fact can take career courses that we've had approved by the Department of Education, and we have 6 of them at this particular time. Basic computer training, what we call pre-employment training, where you prepare kids to understand what the world of work looks like. Yesterday in one of your meetings, we talked about, they used to call it with some basic skills, but now we want to change that to success skills that people learn.
Sometimes they refer to them as soft skills,
Soft
and it
skills.
almost implies that they're not important, whereas
Right,
they're
right,
really the
right.
foundation for everything else, right? For that success.
Exactly. So we offer that career training, and then because we have a relationship with the unions, we have pre-apprenticeship training where we prepare, again, people who hadn't worked in the construction industry about the things they need to know to be successful in an apprenticeship with the unions. We also have a license to teach CNAs, Certified Nursing Assistants, on how to prepare for taking their state exam, passing that, and getting in the entry level of the healthcare, which is where a lot of the growth is, even though there's been some major layoffs. Healthcare, as it relates to us bald head or gray head old guys like myself, we need care as we get older. So CNAs and a lot of the things that are going on, talk about trends,
Yeah.
where hospital stays aren't what they used to be when I was a young guy. They don't have people staying in for a month or 2 months. They want to treat you at home. So CNAs, HHAs,
Home health aides.
yeah, growing really, really fast. So in addition to the business development and incubation, we provide training to people who choose not to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and you teased us before by saying you might have an exclusive announcement today.
Yes.
So the fourth component that you're adding to the mix. Did you want to bring that
Sure,
out
we'll
now?
talk about it right now. Otherwise, I might forget. What it is we have just secured the certification for something called CDFI, which is Community
Development?
Financial Institution from the Department of Treasury, which means within about 6 months to a year, we're going to be able to offer not only technical assistance, but for those people who banks won't work with because they don't have the history or the character, the collateral, the actual credit to start or get a loan to start their
Sure.
business. We're going to have our own loan pool and be able to lend money
Well, that's-
to the people we provide a service to.
I know you've been working hard towards that
Yes.
designation for quite some time, and it is, such a missing piece to the puzzle, especially, nowadays where banks have really tightened their restrictions. Some people would argue, after
Yeah,
the crash and everything, with good reason, but at the same time, that's really shut out some folks that could be starting vibrant business, small businesses in the community. And so to have that access to that program through your organization, I think that's going to be a real win for you, obviously, a win for the people and also for the community. So
Oh, and definitely the community, because let me, if I can,
Sure.
talk to that one and how it fills a couple of gaps. What happens is the average business that starts, okay, they in fact will create 3 jobs. A lot of people start their businesses because they got laid off from the jobs that they were in.
Right.
So it creates a permanent job for the owner. The owner usually has a salesperson going out to sell the product or service.
and remind me to come back to that
Okay,
point in a
and
second.
then somebody has to do the administrative piece, because if your customers are not happy.
And plus, there's a lot of answer. You've got someone with the incorporation paperwork and handling,
Yes.
the taxes and the bookkeeping. So all these
Exactly.
other services
ripple
that get
into other jobs. So by starting a small business, you create on average 3 positions in a company that's growing. If that company now kicks off and is successful, then the numbers increase. Okay.
Now, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but,
Okay,
but
okay.
before we get back to the sales aspect that I want to talk about, is there a general rule of thumb, or do you know like what the average kind of request to start a business is? I know they're all different. Some
Sure,
businesses
sure,
kind of
sure.
require much more capital than others, but for some of the small businesses that you see,
For some of the small
what's the-
service business that we see,
Yeah.
the amount is $10,000.
yeah. So
It's
we're not
it's
talking
a
an
huge
astronomical
Not
amount.
a huge amount, but because the banks, rightly so, have to watch their bottom line. They don't want to lose the money because business is really risky. They don't want to lose the money. Fact of the matter is, if you haven't been in business 2 years with a successful performance, the banks won't even talk to you.
So with this
But-
program,
With this program, because we get to know the persons,
Mm-hmm.
they call it the 5 C's, and one of the C's is character. Then you got cash, you got credit, you got collateral. Okay, so when you take in effect the things that are considered in making a banking decision, a lot of people and a lot of banks don't have the time to get to know people, and they don't understand the piece of character. So if I know you,
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that Jeff just went through a divorce. Not saying that you have.
well,
No, you're going through a divorce. Or we can understand your problems, and based upon us knowing you in the community, we will take a risk that the banks wouldn't and shouldn't take based upon them
their
having to
portfolio,
protect
yeah.
and the federal guidelines they have to abide by. But they can't.
So it is
take
kind of a
the
chicken
risk.
and egg, though, where the banks want to see performance, and the business startup, the entrepreneur is looking for that funding to start to get the performance.
It is.
So right, so that's
So
why
we help
you're
break
yeah
that whole dilemma of the chicken and egg.
yeah.
So we in fact now will take a risk. And again, I mean, you just can't come in and say, I want to do something. I don't have a business plan. I just need the money, and
Yeah.
we're going to give you the money. That's not going to happen. Okay. What's going to happen is we're going to say, these are the things you need to do to
show
have us to show that you're really, really serious about your business and you understand it, and we're willing to take that risk with you.
Yeah.
However, you have to do these things. And we need to see a cash flow. We need to see a performer. We need to see your expertise in this
Now,
particular business.
are there a lot of CDFIs in our greater Worcester area?
No, they're not. They're just recently, organization came to town called RCAP Solutions.
Okay.
They, in fact, are designated CDFI. But other than that, and they just came, they're
But I would
known.
imagine capacity-wise, it's better, obviously, to have more entities. When you're talking
Oh,
about
yeah,
access to
absolutely.
technical assistance and to funding, boy, it sounds
Matter
like
of
the
fact,
more the better, right?
I wish I had the statistic that the SBA gave, that if we were just giving away 2 loans every day for the next 10 years, the number of people who are looking for loans
Would still
would
exceed that.
still exceed it. Exactly. And one thing I wanted to point out, we talked about filling that or helping with that chicken and egg concept, is also what we do is if we successfully teach these startups or people who are existing in business how to keep their books and how to balance their books and how to show what they don't want to show because they don't want to pay taxes. Sometimes companies are making money, but because of cash business, they'll show that they're not making money on their tax returns, so they don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
We're like, stop that. You got to treat them separately. You got to show you're making a profit, because when you want to go from 10,000 to 100,000, if you can't show the bank that you're profitable,
That you're
not
real,
going to be able
yeah.
to get that loan.
Yep.
So we're now preparing them to graduate to the bigger market,
into the main,
into
yeah.
the bank. So
Yeah.
you're creating employment, you're getting businesses started, you're eliminating the chicken and the egg,
Yeah.
and you're preparing a person.
Boy, it must be really
to get
exciting
to
too
the
to see
upper
someone
level.
take their vision from that vision to reality, and to help them, in that must just be so rewarding for you and the others here to kind of see that happen, on a personal level.
It really is, and you hope that the people remember where they got started, and I take for one that I can give you off the top of my head is Acclaim Home Health Care. Actually started here with one employee, the owner.
Yeah.
Okay, and this lady was an immigrant, but lady had a degree in administration and healthcare. Decided she was going to go out on her own, started her business, and now employs over 40 people, okay, and has a business.
And it's interesting that you mentioned her background
Over a
as
million.
as an immigrant, because one of the things that we've looked at is, when you look at the growth of our region population-wise, it's growing because of
immigration.
of new Americans coming here.
Exactly.
So obviously, if you could help them navigate what must seem to be, in many ways a different business culture and business service system, so to navigate that process must be a huge help. You've got some very talented people coming here with
Very.
great ideas,
Yes.
and in many times they've got kind of an insight into a niche market already built in. You mentioned the Vietnamese, women who they may have kind of a built-in market for some of what they're doing. It might be a product or service that that many of their fellow expatriates that are here would appreciate or enjoy, that they're not able to get from kind of traditional
People like us.
Yeah, exactly. So I did want to come back to something else you had mentioned about new businesses start, when they first hire, they often need sales help, and I know that's another area that you've brought forth to the board and to the career center around this idea of if we can do more with sales training for young people and for job seekers in general. That's something they can use to sell themselves, to sell other people's products. It's kind of a universal skill, if you will, that cuts across that. Did you want to speak, some
I
about
do,
that?
right? And I'm glad you give me the opportunity, because that's one I haven't been able to package well enough to convince you good people to put some energies in it. But, and I guess it comes from my past experience in sales and marketing, that whatever product that you have or service that you have, something has to be sold to generate income. And once it's sold, somebody needs to take care of the customer service representative, to keep them happy. Because if you think about the sales cycle, that 65% statistically of the next year's business is going to come from your existing sales or existing customers. So sales is something that must take place. We're always selling, whether we know it or not.
Right, right.
And if a person could learn the skill sets of working with people and convincing those, not convincing, that's the old school
Yeah.
saying, but consulting with people to find out what their needs are and satisfy their needs with your product or service, that's needed.
Yeah, and on two levels though too. I mean, when you think about someone going through a job search process, they're actually selling themselves and helping them see how they can add value to a potential employer. To sell that aspect of it would make them, that much more, employable to or to show to the potential
To the
employer,
person,
like, hey, I would
have value.
Exactly.
And we
exactly.
talked about, I think it was yesterday, that even if a person, changing the subject slightly, but it's like when you get skills that are transferable and broadly transferable, that if a person took an entrepreneurial class, that person would understand what it was to run a business.
Mm-hmm.
So again, when that person is interviewing from a job, he can understand or she can understand what it is that employer is expecting and approach that interview from that perspective. Matter of fact, one of the courses that we teach in our pre-employment training is employer expectation. And so what we do is we said, okay, what do you expect as an employee from your employer?
Mm-hmm.
Then they'll be, we want respect, we want good pay, we want this, we want that. He said, okay, now that the employer gives you a paycheck, now that he gives you respect, what are you going to give him? What do you think that employer wants? What do you think he or she wants? Well, they want you to be on time. They want you to show up.
Yeah.
They want you to be a critical thinker. They want you to be able to, be a
Add
team
value
member.
to their operation.
Organization. And they're sitting there like, wow, I was just thinking about what I wanted. Well, you can't. You need to think about what the employer wants. And the one I really like is we give them an example of a problem. We say that you don't drink, you don't smoke, but somebody, it's their birthday, and you have an appointment at 7:30 tonight, but the function starts at 5:30. Do you go? And a lot of people, no, I'm not going. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I'm not going. And we say, wrong answer. You go. You let them know that you have an appointment at 7:30, so you won't hang out all night. And you can order a Coke with ice, and they'll think it's a rum and Coke. And you just sit there and you communicate with the people for an hour, and then you leave. And you go to your previous engagement. That's what you do when you want to be a part of the team and climb the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
You got to get away from your individual attitude and saying what you will and won't do, and be a part of a team. And they're like, you're kidding. But they get it.
Yeah.
But they hadn't got it before because
Helps
so
them to
much
kinda
of
cut
the
through
world,
some of that. Yeah.
it talks about being macho and all this other nonsense. So we try to bring them to reality.
So what's some other, in general, what's some other trends that you're seeing out there in in your work and in the community as it relates to jobs and to the economy?
Okay, interesting and sad at the same time, and that is jobs are out there. But the jobs that are out there, because let's say in this area, the jobs that are out there is what I call healthcare, precision manufacturing, and finance. If in fact 28% of the high school students in our area drop out of school, they don't have the credentials to qualify for health care.
28 drop out in the high school ranks, and then when you
Then
look at how
another-
many
Another
go on to
32
college or don't go on to
finish the 4
college,
years. Yes.
it's about. I don't have the actual statistic in front of me, but it's about 30% of American youth that will go on and get their bachelor's within like 6 years after graduation from high school. So it's actually under that. So let's just say it's 28, 29%.
Yes.
So our model of kind of college for all
Doesn't
work for
work.
more than 2/3. And so, I think that's something that needs to be kind of addressed, but
and so what we're
Yeah.
saying is that So answering your question, what's the trend? Trends is that the jobs are out there, but unemployment is high. And because unemployment is high, it's competitive. So the kids who kind of dropped out, or those people who've been unemployed for a long time, because many jobs require you to have a skill and experience, if you're even just coming out of college and you don't have the experience, because there are other people who are competing with you who had the experience, they're going to get the job first. So a lot of people who get the job first because of their experience have to take less pay because they can get a college graduate for less.
Right.
But as the employer, I'm looking at, well, how can I make this a win-win? How can I get this experience, and how can I pay less? So that's a trend.
Yeah.
And so the jobs are there, but many people don't qualify. And for those who are unemployed, they become the competition for those who didn't graduate. And there's this abundance of jobs, but those people who don't qualify can't get the jobs. So a solution, I hate to identify problems without a solution, is to come up with programs that provide a certificate recognized skill like CNA, where a person can get a certificate that allows them to get in at an entry level, learn the industry, and work their way
Get some more
up.
experience, yeah. So that's where those 6 training programs that you had mentioned previously, including the
Come
pre-apprenticeship, really come into play.
Exactly. Then the other end of that trend spectrum is, you got the big companies with the requiring a baccalaureate to get in. On the other side, you got a lot of people who are forced these days to take a less than they were making in the past, what I call it under living wages, because they just have to survive.
Yeah.
And so you got the big box stores that are paying less, but providing some type of employment for people to have a basic survival opportunity. So we need to fill those gaps, get everything working right, and make an opportunity to improve the skills for the older people who are now laid off, to get them to, I'll use the term, re-engineer themselves. And we need to create certificate programs for those people who didn't work in the regular educational system that allows them to get a skill and now take that certificate that's recognized by the industry and in fact be able to secure a job with that skill. And the one I'm working on, trying to convince the city and others that if in fact we could put together sales training and customer service training, we think because of the belief that everybody, every product or service needs to be sold, and it's a transferable skill, that if you can sell airplanes, you'll be able to sell a car.
Sure. Well, certainly on some level, it's a skill that is never wasted on one level or not. So, well, as we wind the interview up, I want to thank you again for your time here today, and also for all the work and effort on behalf of the Workforce Investment Board. It sounds like some great things are happening here.
I gave you so many headaches, you're going to kick me off.
How many? No, these are great ideas. This is what it's about. To drive our system forward. You at one time you had given me some advice or a saying that stuck with me about things not changing unless it's kind of pushed, and it was yielding power. Power does not.
I'll tell you what it is.
Okay, go for it.
So it says power yields nothing without force.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's a good. You've got to push that ball forward, and oftentimes it's not easy, and there's bureaucracies or whatever that move slowly, and so we do appreciate you working with us. How can folks get in touch with you or here at this with others here at the center? If they're interested in getting some help with starting a business or maybe looking into one of those training programs, might be an employer that's out there that wants to work with you to work with your programs. how can folks get in touch?
Well, the phone number here is 508-756-6330. And from that main number, they're able to get triage to career training, incubation, or business development.
Sure.
All right. Because of the new age, you can get in touch with us with www, the initials of the organization, MLKJ-BEC at rcn.com. So the Martin Luther King Jr. Business Empowerment Center, if you remember that.
And if folks
it's just the initials
folks go on to Google, they can also, Google Martin Luther King Jr. Business Empowerment Center, Worcester,
Absolutely.
Mass, and that'll come up.
It'll come up.
Well, thank you again for your time here today.
Thank
It's
you.
fascinating, as always, fascinating insights into what's happening, into real exciting news about your new status as a community development financial institution. So,
And if I can, I want to say to you, I appreciate you and your efforts as executive director of the Central Mass Workforce Investment Board of being open to new ideas, understanding that, the world is changing, and also on the other side saying, well, these are the things I have to face as it relates to federal government and procedures.
Sure.
And so how do we work together to make it
blending
happen?
those two is not always, not always a straight shot.
Right, but
so.
you're willing to try. And
Shucks, but we try,
I appreciate that. I appreciate
Well,
that.
thanks again, sir.
Thank you.
You're listening to WCUW 91.3 FM, community radio serving Central Massachusetts.
Join us on the ice at the Worcester Common Oval, ice skating for the whole family to enjoy. Located behind the Worcester City Hall, you can pack a lunch and come on over on Wednesdays and Thursdays, 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. and every weekend until February. Visit www.worcestermass.org to find out more or call 508-929-0777. Worcester Common Oval is an inexpensive way to exercise and have fun.
Okay, you're back live with us here on the Working Lunch, WCUW 91.3. We'll also be not simulcasting, but delayed broadcasting this on Worcester's Channel 12. I'd like to turn now to, well, that was a great interview. First of all, that was a good interview.
Great.
Good recap.
I want to thank Robert Thomas for taking some time to let us into his building and his great facility there. It's great.
Sure.
Yeah.
And show us around, yeah. So I did want to, we do want to try to have an ongoing feature here regarding, mail, answering questions that come in through
our email.
Our email.
So we have an email set up. It's workinglunch@wcuw.org. And besides the thousands of emails we get asking for Jeff for an autograph and personal appearances, we've also get some questions from time to time. So I grabbed a couple that kind of had a reoccurring theme of unemployment insurance. As we were talking about before, the unemployment rate in Worcester is at 6.7, so I thought it would be good to address these questions. So first off, Tina from Millbury wrote us an email. She said she was recently laid off and has filed for unemployment, but she was wondering how long she can collect her UI benefits. So we did some research. The maximum number of weeks that you can collect, Tina, is 30. But that number is going to be determined from your earnings during the last 15 months that you were prior to
Sure,
filing.
there's an eligibility factor that's kind of customized per applicant.
Exactly. That'll determine how long and how much you can collect for.
I should mention too that next month we're scheduled to have on some officials for
Yes.
a spokesperson from a staff person from Division of Career Services who can speak a bit more about this and some other things that are going on.
That'll be a great segment to have too.
That will be, yeah.
And then I've got another email here from Leroy, from out your way actually, Jeff, from Northborough. And Leroy writes, "Hey guys, I love the show. I get a lot of useful info for my job search. I'm currently collecting UI, but I don't currently have health insurance. Is there anything I can do?" There is, Leroy. You can look into the Medical Security Program, which will offer health insurance for people who are collecting unemployment insurance. And then the other services that you can access through the Career Center, there's some reemployment services, the workshops, some of the job search, resume writing, and then also you can file for extensions when needed.
So there are some yeah, and we should mention too that with the fiscal cliff deal that's been reached, there is an extension of unemployment insurance benefits for those who qualify. So there are some people that would qualify to restart their benefits if they had time remaining on their benefits when the year ended. They may be reinstated, and they should have received a letter in the mail explaining that. So,
Yep.
Okay, I think we're going to be going now to another good feature that we
Yes.
pre-taped.
Yep, our friends at Rainbow Child Development, Jeff had a chance to sit down, and I had a chance to film them. And Jeff asked them a little bit about what they wanted to be when they grow up, and
Some
other
interesting
workforce
dialogue
things, so.
there with some career experts from the
That's right.
preschool over there.
We're doing a show, like I said, about careers and jobs. What do you think? You can just say it out loud, whatever you think. What do you want to be when you grow up?
A mermaid. A mermaid.
How do you get to become a mermaid?
Oh my god, this is gonna be very expensive. How could you turn into a mermaid without something to turn us into?
Yeah, is there like a school to go to for mermaid, like a mermaid academy?
No, you also get a magic necklace.
Oh, a magic necklace. You
Just
need
like
those.
Barbie has a magic necklace to turn her into a mermaid.
So you need to just get a magic necklace, and that could be your job. You could be a mermaid.
Do you have a magic necklace?
I don't. What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a dad.
You want to be? Oh, that sounds very nice.
I want to be a cupcake maker.
How do you become a baker? What do you do to become a baker?
You have to wear baker stuff.
Just wear the baker. So if I went out and bought some baker's clothes, I could just become a baker.
Mm.
Do you think someone has to teach you how to bake certain things?
No. I want to be a lifeguard when I'm a teenager.
A lifeguard when you're a teenager? That sounds fun. Why do you want to be a lifeguard?
Cause I get to take care of people when they're in the water. I want to be a princess.
Oh, a princess?
I want to be a pirate. I want to be.
A pirate?
Mm,
You want to be a pirate?
Yeah, with a sword.
Oh, with a sword? Is that why you want to become a pirate?
Yeah,
Because you get to have a sword?
yeah. When I'm bigger.
Well, when you're bigger, right?
Yeah.
But when you're a pirate, what do pirates say? How do they
R.
talk?
R.
Arr.
Yeah.
Do you know what a pirate's favorite letter of the alphabet is?
Yeah.
What?
A bird.
No, the favorite letter of the alphabet, a pirate's favorite letter? R.
R.
Get it? Because it's R and that's a letter. Kind of funny, right? Not too funny? No.
That's too funny.
Yeah. And you, what do you want to be when you grow up, sir? Did you say
A doctor. I wish I would be a doctor.
a doctor? That sounds fun. That's
Me
good.
too.
Yeah? Another doctor? How about you?
I have a baby doctor.
A baby doctor? Would you rather be a mermaid or a doctor?
Mermaid. Mermaid.
Yeah. Do you think, which one do you think has a better retirement plan? Mermaid or doctor?
Mermaid. Doctor.
Doctor, mermaid, we don't know. Can you be both? Could you be a mermaid doctor? Why not?
No.
You don't think the fish could use a little help from the doctor?
No.
Because you could swim around and help
No.
people. Help other fish maybe.
I want to be a hairstyle and painted nails.
A painter of nails? You want to be nails? You guys think you should paint my nails? You don't think we should paint my nails?
No, you're a boy.
Have you guys ever heard of a resume?
No.
No. You know what a resume is? Let me tell you what a resume is. It's where you list the different skills that you have, the different things you're good at, so that you can show people that might want to hire you the things that you can do for them. What do you think? What would you put on your resume?
Applesauce.
Applesauce. What's some things that you do that you're good at that you'd put on your resume?
I play some sports.
So you play some sports, so you'd say you're good at sports? What kind of sports? Which sports?
All of them.
All of them?
I'm good at swimming.
So you put that, and that's a great thing to put if you're going for a lifeguard job, right? To show them that you're good at swimming. Well, do you know what a resume is?
No,
What is it?
you know what a recipe?
No, a resume.
A resume.
Do any of you want to become a workforce investment board director?
No. I don't. I don't know.
You do?
I don't.
No.
I don't.
You think you guys might want to be a workforce investment board director?
Yeah.
Yeah? Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Isn't that the coolest job ever? Hey,
Yeah.
give me a fist bump on that one. Oh. Can you do me a
Okay,
favor?
well, we
Can
want to
you-
thank the folks at the Rainbow Child Development Center.
Yeah,
for-
it was
for
great to
that.
be over there. It really
And
was.
We also want to thank Rob Thomas
Robert, yep.
and his staff over at Martin Luther King Jr. Business Empowerment Center. I want to thank Jessica and Judy from the Cable Services.
Thanks, guys.
And, of course, Bob Zukowski, our director, and Jesse Edwards,
Yes.
who created our opening montage.
And the listeners
And the listeners out
and
there.
watchers, viewers.
Okay, with that being said, we're breaking away now on the radio portion, but we did want to carry on a bit here. Sean, I know you have some calendar items that are coming up that you
Yep.
wanted to discuss.
Yep, I want to thank Amy Mosier. She sends out a great email. It's an entrepreneurs list, and there's a couple things on here I wanted to highlight. The Center for Women in Enterprise, the CWE, which I think Robert had mentioned in
Yes, he
his
did.
interview.
Yep.
They're on 50 Elm Street on the second floor, and that's in Worcester. On Tuesday, February 26th, they're having a Power of Email Marketing from 6 to 8 p.m. It's going to be a good event.
That email, it's sticking around. You know,
It's not going anywhere.
not going anywhere. Probably a good thing to learn how to use that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you want more information or to register for that event, you can go to their website, which is www.cweonline.org.
Now that's anyone can go to that. You don't have to be a female or be already involved with their
Yep.
program. That's open to the public.
Yep.
They just want you to call ahead
Call
and
ahead and register. The Mass Small Business Development Center, the MSBDC, which is located here in Maine South at the Clark University, they're offering 5 spring workshops. Those are going to be on Thursday morning, and they begin in March. And
So again, another opportunity for someone looking to start their own business to get some
Yep.
assistance with that.
yep, a lot of the events that Amy puts out on her entrepreneur list are
I think I mentioned you have a friend who's looking at play rugby with him.
yes, the
Play
beer
the
guy.
over 35 rugby. Yeah,
Yeah.
Great home brewer right now,
Yeah.
and looking to jumpstart a career in that.
Well, you gotta connect him with Amy, our past
Yeah,
guest, and
no,
our,
there's some resources
Robert,
out there. It'd be great
our new guest.
I believe it's a Long Hair Brewery, so folks should look out for that in the coming
Yeah,
months.
Yeah, I know I will be. The other one I wanted to mention was the Senior Corps of Retired Executive, which
SCORE.
also was mentioned in Robert's interview. Yes, SCORE. They're at 446 Main Street, Suite 200 in Worcester. And on February 26th, they're going to have a successful business startup. It's a 7-week series, and that's going to be at Assabet Valley's Center for Continuing Education.
So that's great, especially if you're out that way near Assabet Valley.
Yep.
Great. Anything else going on? I know that there's a very large, the state's largest career fair that will be happening on Friday,
the DCU
March
Center, yeah,
15th. That's done. Folks at Workforce Central
Yep.
Career Center in partnership with the DCU Center and the Worcester Sharks. So
Yeah.
that's a great
Huge event.
annual event. This is going to be the third one, I believe, and it's the largest career fair. That typically they get over close to 100 companies coming out
Yep.
to talk to folks, and it's a great opportunity for job seekers to dress up a bit and put
Yeah.
their best face forward and talk to employers. So
Yeah, and I believe that you can also kind of tie it into a night out on the town too, because I
Yeah.
think they turned it into buy one get one half off for tickets to the Sharks team.
if
that
folks
night.
want to get involved in that, they can call over to John McCarthy at the Worcester Workforce Central Career Center in Worcester.
Yep.
508-799-1600. They can also check online workforcecentralma.org.
Yep. And as we're talking about events too, I also want to mention that the career centers have a lot of great programs going on, and those are reoccurring. They have resume workshops. They have LinkedIn workshops,
Sure.
a whole bunch,
Interview
a whole,
techniques.
yeah, a whole bunch, and those can all be
Unfortunately, they don't have a training yet for hosting radio shows. That's one I
found.
think
You
I
saying
might.
I need it, Jeff?
No, I'm saying I think I need it. They're not you need to go to the co-hosting seminar. I think they have a
fair
seminar,
enough, fair
co-hosting
enough.
seminar.
Yeah, it's
You
not
don't
a
need
full
it. You're
day.
all set.
It's
You're
a half a day kind of thing.
special graduate there. Well, again, we want to thank the folks that have helped made this possible. And Bob, I know that you had an announcement about a new grant that's coming online that we wanted to talk about, the Amp It Up grant.
Well, the Amp It Up grant is in cooperation with our Connecting Activities partners,
That's correct.
which is the Blackstone Valley
Chamber of Commerce,
Chamber of Commerce
Education
and their
Foundation. yeah.
Education Foundation and the Worcester Public Schools, giving opportunity for teachers at the middle school as well as the high school, science, math teachers, to be able to have an opportunity in manufacturing this coming summer.
So they go into a business for, I think, a week, is it, right?
A week.
Right.
They go into the business for a week, see what's going on in manufacturing, and bring that back to the classroom
Yeah.
back in the fall and share it with their students, and then also have an opportunity to talk to other teachers and staff at the high schools and middle schools, as well as with parents.
To really help connect the learning, the teaching that they're doing in the classroom with some real world examples that they saw while visiting with the company. So and that's funded through the Mass Office
Mass Development.
Mass Development.
Mass
That's correct.
development. So it's going to expand our opportunities for connecting activities, to get teachers involved with
So that's a
business and
great-
industry and really bring it into the classroom, and kids can apply what they're
Sure.
learning in the classroom with the real world.
So obviously we thank the folks at Mass Development
Definitely.
for helping us with this initiative, and again, manufacturing is one of our cornerstone industries here in central Massachusetts, about the third largest in terms of numbers of employees still, and while the perception is that's it's an industry that's shedding jobs, it's really been holding its own throughout. So
Yeah.
And really, a purpose of the grant is to remove some of the misconceptions about the manufacturing industry. It's not the type of industry my father or grandfather
Yeah.
was in
a
manufacturing.
little bit more realistic too than becoming a mermaid,
Unless you have a necklace.
unless you have the magic necklace. So
Well, someone had to make the necklace.
I think, whoa,
Hey,
yeah,
tying
I
it
like
in.
that.
So, Bob, I wanted to ask you. I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but is there any incentive for the teachers to go to these externships? Do they earn any sort of professional development?
Well, that's part
credits
of
or-
what the grant pays for, right, Bob? It'd be
Yeah.
a stipend, a small stipend
We
for the
provide a
instructor.
stipend
Yeah.
for the teachers.
Oh,
And
that's
also this spring, they'll have an opportunity to meet with manufacturers in a seminar type situation and ask questions before they go out to the work world this summer.
And have you already reached out to manufacturing firms? Are there any that are on board, or is that still in the planning stage?
There's some that are on board, but we'd of course like to get more involvement
Right,
from
right,
businesses
okay.
at every level, and so certainly if there's if there's any manufacturers out there looking at the camera now, if there's any manufacturers out there that would like to be involved in this or other initiatives we've got going on with both worker training or job seeker training in their industry or youth training in their industry, we'd love to talk with them.
Is there an opportunity for schools too, or is it already?
Well, we're pretty much working with the Worcester Public Schools and then the schools as part of the Blackstone Valley network of schools.
Yep.
Through the Education Foundation at the Chamber of Commerce there. But certainly if there's other schools that want to be involved in the Connect Activities program, we're looking at you as well. So please come on
Great.
down for that or give us a call.
Great. That wraps it up.
Bon appetit. Can we end with that? Bon appetit for the working lunch.
Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no